Hello and welcome to the Moose Lounge, where we're gonna get into some smooth rhymes.
Good time.
Yeah, we'd like to start with a shout out to Kev M3075, first guy to give us a supportive comment.
Very
Kev, if you're watching again, you're the man.
We love you, Kev.
We love Kev
3075. He's our first fan, so he's a special fan.
What do you think? What do you think M stands for?
Probably his middle name. I bet you it's like Michael.
Michael?
Or maybe his
That's
last
a
name.
weird little name. It's got to be his last name. Like I'm trying to think of famous
Michael's a
M's.
weird middle name.
I don't know. I think it's like a first name. Middle name should be exciting. I guess.
Not Michael.
Well, whatever it is. Kev, get back to us on that. We'd love to know what the M stands for, what part of your name it
Yeah,
is.
we'd
What if
actually
it's
love to have you on the pod. Interview you.
What if it's just his favorite letter? It's a Kev M.
That would be the dumbest reason.
What letter would yours be? What's your favorite letter?
B.
Because Brian, that's a little
Obviously.
on the nose. I
I
like
mean-
Q. Q is an exciting
No.
letter.
My favorite letter is definitely B.
Okay.
I mean, Q is really the first letter that comes to your brain.
It is. It's like it's involved in a lot of cool words.
Cool word.
Cool words, like a quixotic is a cool word. Whatever. Today we're going to be talking about King Arthur. Specifically King Arthur. I know you guys are going to hear that and you're going to think, oh, this means King Arthur and his knights, and you're wrong. His knights is going to be a separate episode.
Whole different podcast.
Yeah, because this is just going to be about King Arthur and his knights. Not God, I've just fucked it up. Not his knights. Just King Arthur is the only one. I'm drinking a coffee with rum and whiskey in it.
When we were doing the intro, I had took my live first sip reaction, and it was way worse than I was.
Oh yeah, our usual cocktail is so much better than this. We
Yeah.
should buy some more of that stuff.
We will definitely have more espresso teenies ready for next.
For the next one.
The Bacardi rum coffee is not it.
It's not the solution. So what do you ever watch The Sword and the Stone for the Disney movie?
No.
Really?
Maybe if I was. Let me just look it up. The.
Yeah, you know, it's about King Arthur's origin.
Yeah, no, I definitely did watch.
Oh, dude, it's fire. 60s. It's like one of the first Disney movies. So good.
No, yeah.
The
he,
Merlin
like,
and
pulls the rock or the sword out of the rock, right?
Yeah. But the Merlin in that I love. He's like taking beach vacations in the present day. Like he can also go through time and stuff. Killer movie.
Wait, the Merlin. Let's see who's.
Yeah, do the Merlin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, he transforms into a squirrel, and then some horny female squirrels trying to get with him.
And he's like okay with it.
No, dude, he's trying desperately to get away, but he's like, he can't.
Yeah, no, I definitely remember this movie. It's a classic.
Oh, such a good one. Well, then you'll recognize some of the themes today.
That's good.
You know, when you look at King Arthur's life, he's cool,
Mm-hmm.
but most of the exciting stuff happens early, and then when he dies. The middle part of his king career it's the cool stuff his knights are doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really, this is mostly going to be like how he became king,
So like his
and
path
then how he
to
died.
kinghood.
Yeah, his path to kinghood, how he died. We have to talk about Lancelot a little bit because
Okay.
he's involved in his death. But then for the knights, we'll cover all that intermediate, like the quest for the Holy Grail, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I imagine we'll be getting a ton of comments on this video, so those comments can be questions for the night video. that
Yeah,
we
there
can
you go.
follow up on.
That's
So
the spirit. We got to act like we're going to get a lot of comments on all our videos. That way, when it happens, we're right. We're not wrong.
we're not shocked. We've been there before.
We're not shocked.
All right, so what you got for me?
All right, so the start of King Arthur, you got to start by talking about his father, because it's important
Okay.
for like how he becomes king. His father was first off, some context. We're in Britain in like the 400s.
I was
AD.
gonna ask when his time period was, but I've kind of figured you would get to that.
Yeah, that's roughly. And obviously, there's dispute whether King Arthur was a real person. Obviously, the story is not real. There's magic and shit, but like,
He could have been fake.
there's a possibility. He probably was like
What?
a historical figure where all his feats were exaggerated and all this lore developed around him.
But we don't have any records back then of like actually being a king and stuff. Like if he was a king,
There are, but like names change and stuff like this, and like there are really early references, but it doesn't lay out his whole story. These early references are just like King Arthur won a battle here. You know, like that's the extent of the records, and from that they get like this whole big mystery about like all of knights and mages and stuff, and
it's rather upsetting if I'm being honest.
no, it's nice. I like, because you know what that means is that the story was good enough that it was passed down by word of mouth,
Okay.
verbally. It's
So-
easier for a story to survive when it's written down, but
it's-
when it's just people talking about it, it's
Gotta
got to be a
fire
goddamn
story.
fire story
Fire.
to make it this far. So, you know,
Especially making it all the way to the Moose Lounge.
all the way to the Moose
23.
Lounge, and this is where it ends. We're the last ones to ever talk about it.
Putting the sword back in the stone.
This is but yeah, so we're in Britain in the 400s, and it's not a united place at that point. There's all these warring regions and different kings, and they all own their small little territories, and they're constantly fighting. And so one of these kings was King Uther, Uthur.
Arthur without the A.
It's Uther. He's King Uther.
Is that not how you spell Arthur without the A? I guess
No,
AR.
A-R.
Still, it's pretty fucking
It's
close.
well, he's his dad, you know. They weren't.
Yeah,
there had
I
to
was
be.
like,
Yeah.
what are the chances?
All right, and so King Uther wants to bang the wife of a duke. This is how this story begins.
Okay.
But this obviously this wife is married to the duke,
Mm-hmm.
and this
As
escalates
wives are.
as wives are. They are usually married to someone.
Typically.
Yeah. Except did you hear about that lady that married the Eiffel Tower?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
A dude. So well, I get
Actually, it does surprise me because you can marry anything, but like, she got permission to marry the Eiffel Tower?
I didn't read that much into the legality of this.
Marry.
But it gets crazier because she married the Eiffel Tower. They were married for like 15 years.
Uh-huh.
And then the reason I saw this article was because recently they got divorced.
Wow.
The Eiffel Tower was cheating. No, I don't know. But like, and now she's married to a red fence,
Huh.
which honestly feels like a downgrade.
Huge downgrade.
She totally lost.
I
that.
mean, once you've married the Eiffel Tower, there's pretty much, it's pretty slim pickings to get up from there.
Go for like the Burj Khalifa. What's that giant one?
The one in
Or the Sears Tower,
Dubai
maybe.
is what I'm thinking of. That
Cool.
one's pretty big and tall and sexy.
Oh, if she was a lesbian, she could have gone for the Statue of Liberty. That would have been a good one.
That would definitely.
At least it's human shaped. It's very
French as well, keeping
Yeah.
it to the theme. Empire State Building seems like a good building to marry.
but he's
But like a whore.
yeah.
He's a man
He's
whore.
a
He's got
whore.
every
Although, I mean, dude, the moment she broke up with the Eiffel Tower was flooded with hot girls. Immediately.
Taking pictures.
He'd
but-
been
oh man,
faithfully turning down this house for
Imagine
decades.
breaking up with the Eiffel Tower and you're going through like your breakup phase and you just keep seeing people post pictures with the Eiffel Tower.
Oh
and
my
like,
God.
oh my god, had such a great time on the Eiffel Tower.
Oh my God, we got to go in the Eiffel Tower because we were close like that, and it's all hot Instagram influencers because no one else is really.
Knifey, we're getting
Yeah.
real intimate late night. Wow,
But
we got
yeah,
off topic quick there.
yeah, we did. Well, whatever.
Rein it in.
That's why this is not a lecture. This is a podcast,
Okay.
so we get to do those things.
Thank you for.
But yeah, so King Uther wants to bang the wife of a duke,
Hmm.
and so the duke finds out, and things escalate, and he basically ends up at a war with his duke because he wants to bang his wife, and the duke is not about that.
No.
So he goes to Merlin, you know,
That
the
wizard.
famous mage Merlin. So
Okay.
he's
I can
already
see
got
where
magic.
this is
and
starting
stuff.
to turn into a story.
Yep. He goes to Merlin, and he's like, Merlin, you got to help me bang this lady.
Merlin, please.
I'm so horny. Masturbation has not been
I
invented.
need magical intervention.
We won't have masturbation for another 1,000 years. I need this lady right
You
now.
really think they didn't masturbate?
They totally masturbate. I'm just joking. Yeah, dude. Like, that's the easiest thing in the world to figure out.
Yeah, no one taught me how to masturbate.
Oh, me either.
Well,
I just
actually,
figured. Yeah, you did get taught.
I got a cousin lesson, but more of like a
Yeah.
go for
Well, don't say it like that. It sounds like you're.
I know.
biased
Like that's what I
to me.
say. Go for it. Like
Yeah.
the idea, not the action.
But yeah, so he goes to talks to Merlin, and Merlin goes, "All right, I'll help you sleep with her, on the condition that if you guys have a baby, you give me that baby, and I get to keep the baby."
Classic
And-
wizard bullshit.
Classic wizard bullshit. But King Uther is so horny. He's like, "I'm down.
Cool.
He can have any babies." This is like he's like abortions had not been invented yet, so he's like, this is a good halfway between. I don't have to really raise
Wait,
this child.
Want the baby?
No, obviously he's bummed. He's a king, but he wants to bang this lady. You know, kings care about their
Yeah,
their
but not
kids.
not the like the kids that aren't with his actual queen, right? Like the,
Yeah, ooh, well, we'll get there. Things here. So anyway, so Merlin, so he agrees to this, and Merlin, quote unquote, throws some powder at him and turns him into the Duke. So he looks exactly like the Duke.
Hmm.
And so then he just walks right into the castle, and like and the lady's daughter is there, like the duchess's daughter is there, and she knows something's weird, but he sends her away, and then he has a a passionate night with this lady. And while this is happening, his men find the Duke and kill him because they remember they're at war. So there's all these battles going on. And so then he has this sex with the lady, leaves in the morning, and then as he's leaving, the Duke's men with the Duke's body arrive, and they show the Duchess, and the Duchess is like, "What happened? How can this be?" And they're like, "He was slain in battle last night." And she's like, "That's not true. I spent the night with him last night." And what they decide, the Duchess and her men, is like, "Oh, that must have been his spirit, wishing you farewell."
And
And
nice final spirit
yes,
fuck.
yeah, you know how that. Yeah, people don't talk about the last spirit fuck you get when your wife dies.
Happened.
Oh my god, dude! A single lady in my building died, and she was trying to sleep with me the other night.
You get stabbed and you just like go to some random chick's house.
That's that's what ghosts are. They're people that died horny.
Oh my
They
gosh.
can't leave until they
They
bang
need to
someone. But yeah, so and now the war is over pretty much because the Duke is dead, and so King Uther comes by and he's like, you know what? We should bring peace to this region. Let's get married. And then he marries the Duchess, who he had sex with like a few nights prior.
As
She didn't know.
he's back.
He's back to normal, so she knows it's King Uther.
She just thinks she fucked her.
She thinks she fucks her dead husband.
spirit.
Yeah, and obviously she gets pregnant from this.
From
and,
the spirit fucking.
From the spirit fucking, and King Uther at first is freaking out because he doesn't know for sure it's his. You know what they say, it's mama's baby, but papa's maybe. He's like, maybe she had sex with the Duke.
He's like, it wasn't even my penis.
It
didn't even.
Well, so he asks her, and she goes, "No, I hadn't laid with the Duke for weeks or months or whatever. Before that night, he died." And so then he's psyched 'cause he's like, "This is my kid."
Sweet.
All right. And so then, some months pass. She has the child, and of course, Merlin shows up and is like, "That's my baby. We agreed."
Mm-hmm.
And the reason Merlin takes the baby is because he knows King Uther has like people against him in his court, and they're going to try to kill him. And he knows the baby's special. The baby is King Arthur. Spoiler alert. And so he takes him away, and he gives him to Sir, what is his name? Elric. Make sure.
Merlin gives the baby away now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sir Ector. So he takes the baby and gives him to Sir Ector to be raised safely. And Sir Ector raises him with Sir Ector's legit son, Sir Kay. Some years pass, and King Uther's still alive, and he wants to set up Camelot, like the famous city.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's a city. The court was in Camelot.
Okay.
And he's setting it up, but he's setting it up on like some lands that were holy to druids, and people didn't like that. And so like some of the nobles were plotting against him.
War. Wasn't that every war was just religion?
Yeah, religion or hot ladies. Those were the two reasons for war back then. Religion and hot ladies.
If you don't have much else going on in your life, like they didn't have the internet or whatever, so like it was God or.
It's not like there are better reasons for war out there. It's not like.
Yeah, like I guess money is like the only other real reason.
Yeah, is that really better than religion or hot lady?
No, but like money seems a little more infinite in terms of like we get money so that we can do XYZ. Like we get that Holy Land just so we can.
If you conquer enough nations, the hot ladies are infinite too.
I guess that's a good point. I'm not conquering land. I don't think hot ladies really constitutes as land conquerable at this point.
No. You conquer lands, and within those lands, there are hot ladies. And now that you're king, you've got hot ladies.
So you think that weighed in a lot of conquerings back in the day?
Like 100%. The way that they got their
really?
Yeah, dude. The way that they managed to, one of the motivating factors for their troops. Beyond, like, because they didn't get paid super well, but when they conquered a village, they got to loot, plunder, and rape the ladies.
Damn. So yeah, they were probably like, "Oh, we're not going to go to the ugly camps." Like,
I didn't think of it that way. You're right. You're in way more danger if you're hot.
Yeah,
you're like
then, or like a hot city.
Like Sweden is getting invaded every other week. It's all hot people.
Brutal.
But yeah, so anyway, so they don't like that he's building Camelot in this place. And so they're in a battle, and these nobles are supposed to flank the enemy, and they don't. And so now King Uther is in trouble, and he gets like really seriously wounded, and he's trying to get away. And one other stipulation Merlin told him when he took the baby, he's like, protect your sword with your life, because the sword is going to be essential to your kingdom's future. And so as he's like wounded in this battle and he's riding and trying to get away from them, he remembers Merlin's words, and so he falls off his horse because he's losing blood, and he stabs his sword as hard as he can into a stone,
Mm-hmm.
and that becomes
This little stone right here.
yeah. Well, that's an anvil, but yeah.
Disney changed it up a bit.
No, some were an anvil, some were stone. Again, this is a story that changes a lot over the years, so it's kind of like that's equally legit.
Can we do an anvil just for Mike?
Sure. Sticks it in an anvil.
Out in the woods.
Out in the woods. There's a random anvil someone put there. Yeah, and so that lays there, and then people over the years try to pull this out, and they realize no one can, and then like, rumors spread that like whoever manages to pull it out will be the King of England and all of this stuff. And so that's it for a while. King Arthur's being raised. Well, he's just Arthur at this point. He's being raised by Sir Ector alongside Kay, Sir Ector's son, until finally there's a big tournament. And Ector brings his son Kay there to like compete in the tournament. And tournaments, it's like it'll be like jousting, or if you're a lower knight, the jousting is like, that's the elite leagues. There's lower competitions for guys that just became knights or are trying to, where it's just sword fights.
Okay.
In your armor on the ground. And so Arthur's there as Kay's squire. And he's during the first fight, Kay's sword breaks, and so he sends Arthur to get his other sword. And Arthur gets to the tent, and he's like, "Shit, I forgot that other sword at home. I didn't bring it." And he's like worried Kay's gonna be furious, but he remembers
He'd be pretty pissed.
He doesn't know about the legend, but he remembers. I was like, "Oh, I ran by some swords stuck in a rock nearby. Why don't I just go grab that sword?" And so he just goes and grabs it. No problem, just pulls it out and brings it to
beast mode, right?
Beast mode.
Oh, so is he like a little kid at this point?
Yeah, he's young. He's like 14-ish.
Okay.
14, 15, something like that.
Snags that shit.
Snags it over, brings it to Sir Kay, and Sir Kay sees the royal seal, and he's like, "This is crazy," and immediately tries to declare himself king, and starts telling people, "I pulled this from the rock." With Sir Kay. Then his dad pulls up.
Bitch.
Son of a bitch. But dude, his dad knows. He's got his number. His dad rolls up, and he's like, "Oh, did you? Do you promise to God?" And he's like, "Ah, no, you got me."
That's all it took.
That's all it took. He like
promised to the hot ladies.
You promised to the hot ladies. Couldn't lie to his dad
or God.
Or God. And so he had to give it to
Mr. Little.
Yeah, he had to say like Arthur did it. But still people like didn't believe that Arthur
kid did it.
Yeah, no one believed it. And so they go and they stick it back in the stone and they want him to pull it again. But of course everyone's like, "Well, you can re-pull the sword, If it's been pulled out once, it's got to be a breeze this time."
Couldn't.
And so, yeah, a bunch of ripped dudes come, and they all try to pull it out, and they can't. And so then Arthur goes and pulls it out, and that's how he gets the sword out. And then everyone's like, "Well, shit. All right,
we're wrong.
He's legit." So then they try to stop him, and they're like, "Well, just because he pulled the sword out, this is a myth. He's got no claim to the throne,
How is that not enough?
Yeah, you would think.
I would be so
magic sword,
like that.
Rip dudes,
none of us could pull out. Like I feel like, come on.
What would be the modern sword in the stone? Like gun in the holster, nuke in the chamber.
It'd be like the key in the football.
Yeah, you have to turn the key in the unturnable key in the nuclear code.
Like that videos of the bricks of gold that you have to like only use your wrist to pull out.
Yeah, it's a TikTok challenge.
Oh my god, that hurts my wrist just thinking about.
That'd be funny. The TikTok challenge to determine the next king.
Yeah, who can gritty the hardest?
The gritty this was the 400s gritty. It was pulling swords from anvils.
You can pull that sword out.
Oh my god, dude, it's gone viral.
It's going crazy on TikTok.
All 14 of us in this town know. And so, yeah, so obviously they're still like, "No, we're not going to obey this 14-year-old because he pulled a sword from the stone."
I drink so much.
You don't like the drink, too?
I eat so much.
You just got to muscle through.
I think
it's going to get better as you go.
I hope.
It's just going to get more delicious.
Okay.
Yeah, my drink's not good either, but I'm muscling through.
Okay, so I'm imagining 14-year-old kinghood was not on everyone's top priority of good ideas.
Yeah, they didn't want it. And this is all happening like around the stone as he's pulling it out. Until finally some other dude, I've got his name here. I wrote it down because there was no way I was going to remember it. Sir Orpheus is there, and he's like a well-respected knight, and he's been around for a while. He was actually on the court of his father, King Uther's, when he was still alive and king.
So this guy's old as fuck.
He's oldish. Arthur's only 15. His dad died.
True, and like old back then was like 45 probably.
Yeah. Well, not really, because a lot of those stats for that super young average age in the past, it factors in infant mortality. So it's like, and that's like a whole lot of 1 week,
Oh.
2 week,
No,
3
but
week.
like they definitely weren't living that long in the year 400.
No, but they weren't living that short either.
I
People
think
look at those
what,
old
what would you guess is the average or like the elderly?
70,
No, it's definitely lower.
60.
Definitely lower, dude.
What, dude? They've got the best diets, probably. I don't know.
The
I'm speaking
best
out of turn here.
Diet?
Well, they're hunting. They're eating
They have no
plants they
medicine.
grew in their
They have no medicine.
They don't need it because they're eating plants they grew in
They
their backyard.
definitely need it. They
And
died of the plague like
I think
several
we need
times over.
medicine more now because we eat a credit card a week of plastic.
Sure, but like we are living longer now because we have modern medicine.
But
and, like,
that's not. I'm
doctors.
saying that's not obvious because the reason.
You could
the
like
reason
cut
that
your finger and die.
yes, you could. But they also have stronger immune system. The point is the data on that is skewed because it incorporates infant mortality. None of our babies die anymore. Babies.
That also sounds like a pretty good thing.
It is a good thing. It is a good
Why do you
thing.
think they're not dying, Eddie? Is it because they're eating plants?
Because childbirth is like we have better medicine for that.
Oh,
specifically.
better medicine and
Dude,
doctors.
Babies dying brings down the average age.
We can
Obviously.
also definitely keep people alive longer for sure. Like I'm not saying that necessarily
Sure.
a good
Yes, we
thing.
can keep them alive longer.
Well,
They're going to live longer naturally this way. I would say if you're a hunter in the woods that eats vegetables from your garden, an elk that you shot in the mountains, you are less likely to contract some kind of terrible disease than
Fine, but you still get a cold and shit like every once in a while. And not necessarily you need medicine, but like you can we just have medicine. You can get a cut and like literally an infection. Do you think he's just raw dogging that shit? Or is he putting little Neosporin
infection.
on?
Oh,
Yeah, like or band-aids and shit, like anything.
well, Ben,
Washing your hands, soap, stuff like that. Like
yeah.
they died so easily.
Look,
back then.
that's yes, they did die easily.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't even
That's
like
doesn't mean the average. I'm just saying that you have to consider these dead babies when you're calculating the age.
fine considered. However, we are definitely living longer now because of modern technologies
That's
and
not
medicine.
obvious. That is not obvious.
I think it's
dude.
really obvious.
Oh my gosh, Americans are obese. Have you ever seen an obese 80-year-old?
Yes.
Really?
Donald fucking Trump. Like,
He's 70.
he's literally 80.
No, he's not.
He's like 70, 77.
Exactly.
Closer to
Also not obese.
he's literally obese.
Wasn't his weight? Like,
He lied about his weight. He said he was 215.
Pull up a full picture of Donald
Dude,
Trump.
he's full
Let's-
body.
Let's see his body.
He's not.
I think he's fat. Obese is another line.
Okay, let's go golf. They get him in bad pictures there. Yeah,
He's
obese.
fat.
Dude,
You think that's obese?
Yes, I think he weighs over
Really?
300
All right,
pounds.
now in the separate page, Google obese person. Just Google. I agree, he's fat. This is in no way me saying
This is gonna
Trump's
be like-
great shape and hot.
This is gonna be the worst obese person, obviously. But like,
There's gonna be obese
dude,
people.
I was considered obese when I was younger.
Yeah, you were fatter when you were younger.
That's what I'm saying. But like, he's fatter. Most old people, I would imagine, are obese.
No, dude, definitely not. You die so much younger being fat.
Now, when I
like,
say old, I
so,
feel like a
so
lot of
much.
people over
Also,
60.
let's keep in mind that this guy is a billionaire or whatever, has the best medicine possible. Most obese people die young. This is like
I would agree
come on,
with
dude.
you, dude. But like, I'm just saying.
So
Easily.
I'm saying it's not obvious.
I feel like the average obese person now still lives longer than anyone from the year 400.
I would disagree. I
Oh
don't
my
think
gosh,
that's
dude.
true.
Average.
You're gonna
life
do age,
span.
and it's gonna talk about the.
That-
We don't have average ages from the year 400, dude.
Let's just.
We only have the names of like 20
I
people.
know this is gonna have your dumbass baby.
It's not dumbass. That's so important, dude. That's a bunch
All right,
of.
we're getting
nerds
insanely
on
off
average
topic.
age.
This is. I'm just saying, it seems to make so much sense that we live a lot longer now because of medicine and soap.
Okay, but then we also eat a credit card a week. And
You know what the
overweight.
most common cause of heart problems is?
Obesity.
No,
What?
it's poor dental hygiene.
Oh, confirm that. What is?
Most common cause of heart disease.
High blood pressure and high blood pressure and high cholesterol
Is
is the top result. Both things that basically are saying you're fat.
Let's type in dental.
Yeah. Oh yes, if you throw on dental,
It's gum disease. It's because I've read this. It's really, really bad. Oral
particularly at
bacteria
risk.
causes heart disease.
I agree it's at risk, but
So
also
brushing your teeth alone is a huge, huge help for your health. Like I'm just saying, that's a simple thing that people.
I'm saying it's not that obvious because they're not eating the shit we are. What
Dude.
the hell is in a Swedish fish? What is that made of?
Dude, I mean,
When you're eating meat and veggies, your dental hygiene is very different than when you're eating a standard American diet.
what? How long were these guys living?
We don't really know.
Why don't we know? Why is
Because it was 400 and no one knew how to write.
But you really think that they were like even our grandparents died younger?
I'm saying it's not. Yes, the grandparents died younger.
We
They lived
every year.
They lived in that weird middle zone where we had none of the modern medicine and all. They had lead pipes.
So you think people 200 years ago were living longer than like 50 years ago?
Well, I think lead pipes went back more than 200.
500 years ago, you think they were living longer?
No, I don't think so. I'm saying it's not obvious that they were living shorter.
It seems pretty obvious.
Well,
We have, you just seem to be disagreeing with the numbers.
We don't have numbers from the year 400.
I said 500 years ago. We have numbers from then.
From 500 years ago, do we?
Yeah.
Good numbers, dude? I don't think we have good data.
Expectancy by year.
Near 15.
So we are at 79 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1950,
so 50 years ago,
we were at 68.
Yeah. That's peak smog, peak lead pipes. That's peak smoking. How far does it go back?
I think
it's not going back 500 years, dude. That's no one's even in the United States at that point.
Obviously, but I'm saying this is in the U.S. By world over the years,
Just
1,000
type
years.
in life expectancy,
I don't even
1500.
know what to Google.
Life expectancy 1500. But again, numbers are skewed. The point is you don't know, but it's not obvious. Is my point.
45 because of the bubonic plague.
Sure, bubonic plague will get you.
Oh man,
that plague that happened that one time. Is that what you're talking about?
The bubonic. There's so many plagues.
There were, not on the scale of the bubonic.
Okay, prehistoric life expectancy. Little information until fairly recently has existed.
Exactly. That's my point.
Until fairly recently. You haven't even read past the first fucking sentence. Having access to few fossilized humans, blah, 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 blah. In a particular group. In 2006, scientists found some relative age bullshits. Let's see. Give me a chart, bro. According to Finch, the life expectancy in pre-industrial Sweden was around 35 years.
Okay, that's
when factoring in infant deaths and early deaths caused by malnutrition.
Yes.
While there's no barrier to a person living well into their 70s, the likelihood of a newborn reaching 70 was giving the low infant mortality of 40%.
Yes, because they were likely to die on their way out of their mother.
Finch concluded the risk of early death continued to be high until age 15, mainly due to injuries, infections like cholera, tuberculosis. What are you talking about? That's exactly what you're saying. 15 counts as infant death?
No, I'm not.
I'm just saying you could die young. And you could think that leads back.
These are things that you could die from that you wouldn't die from today, but things that you wouldn't die from.
Literally 50 in the 1500s.
Yeah, that's with the infant death. Didn't they say that earlier? All of their life expectancy there is with the infant death. And also with really bad data. Dude, we have the data on like 20 people from 1480.
This guy says this is due to part of infertility. But then from the mid 1800s onward, Finch estimated the life expectancy at birth doubled every 10 generations due to improved health care, sanitation, immunizations, and access to clean water and better nutrition.
Sure. All right. So
that's
the 1800s.
Everything that I just said.
No, it's not. Because the 1800s is the start of the Industrial Revolution.
Dude.
And so you get all of the bad parts, and then slowly you figure out the parts that are bad, and they go away. I'm saying it's not obvious that people lived shorter in the 1500s.
But as time progressed and newly created vaccines offer protection against many of these illnesses, life expectancy began to rapidly increase.
Yes, compared to 1800.
Dude, what are we comparing to though?
I'm saying we can't.
On your bullshit.
That's what I'm saying is.
So I just feel like it's pretty easy to see that when we got medicine, our life expectancy drastically increased.
Starting in 1800, like during the Industrial Revolution, where smog is everywhere.
But like they had diseases back then too. We just talked about the bubonic plague.
Yeah,
that fucking killed a ton of people.
Exactly, but that was a one-time thing. And dude, I'm saying that it's not obvious.
What about the Black Plague? Huh?
It's the same plague.
Is it the same one?
It's the same.
How many plagues have there been?
I'm sure there's been a bunch, dude.
So then why is that like 540, 13C, causing devastating mortality of people and animals across the nation?
How can you say it's improved when it's saying that there's no data before then?
What do you mean? It just
Before 1800. We were talking about 1500. And in
plagues
this
now.
case, we're talking about 400.
We don't really have plagues. I guess COVID was kind of plaguey, but like not people were definitely dying way worse.
Not saying plagues don't kill you.
So,
Like,
but don't you say
modern
that's a good
medicine is
example
good.
of like modern medicine stopping and making
Yes,
us live
it's a
longer? 'Cause we
great
don't have plagues
example.
anymore.
modern medicine has done a great job with plagues. Modernity has also provided mass like obesity at scale, which may outweigh that. I'm saying it's not obvious. That's all I'm saying. You're saying for sure, and I'm saying it's you can't tell, and it's not obvious.
I just feel like we have some data that more supports mine than it supports yours.
Maybe
Definitely.
people. I don't know.
Definitely.
What proportion of America is overweight right now?
Yeah, you just want to do America too?
For do whatever. Do the world.
Portion of the world that is overweight. Also, you're acting like these kings weren't fucking overweight too. They were
Yeah,
drinking.
one dude in every kingdom was overweight.
They had no vegetables. Probably.
Yes. Well, no, they definitely had
13% of the world is a.
That's
is obese.
crazy, dude.
I mean, like, I bet you a very good amount of people were unhealthy back then too, dude.
You don't like have the option really to be like
Yes,
you
you do.
hunted in the woods and ate vegetables from your garden.
If you had a garden,
Yeah, otherwise you picked berries from a forest.
or
Like, do you
ate
understand?
fucking trash and bullshit. Like people died of
People
starvation.
didn't live in cities. Like, it's not the same. It's a hut
They
in a
did live
field,
in cities.
and
What are you
there's
talking about? These kings had cities. Now.
yes, the majority of people did not live in cities until very, very recently. On the
Because there weren't that many people.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You're
We're gonna
you're
have
a
to like,
hut.
cut this entire shit.
All right,
Or
let's
abbreviate.
we can shift back. We can shift back. What? How did we get on this again? Oh, he's 15-year-old. People still don't believe him. Old dude, Orpheus, is like, no, I saw Merlin deliver this baby to Sir Ector, and I can confirm that this is actually King Uther's son that Merlin took and brought to Sir Ector. So this dude, and because he was such a well-respected knight, this brought a lot of people on board. They're like, he probably wouldn't lie about this.
Who Sir Eckler was?
No, Sir Orpheus.
Oh.
This is the old guy we were discussing.
I see.
How old he was, and that's how we got off track.
Ah.
But he was there at the sword pulling, and he's like, no, I saw this happen. You know, I was on his court. I witnessed it all. This dude is actually King Uther's son, and so that brought a lot of people
On board
on board. Yeah,
to the 13-year-old king.
he's 14.
I mean, and he
Oh,
survived.
yeah.
That's
Well, also like
that's
so already it's amazing. This dude made it through the birth canal. Oh shit! Dude. He's a fighter.
ASAP. Get him some vegetables that we grew in our garden.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and so then Arthur becomes a beloved king and starts doing his job. What are you googling?
Just wondering. Oh, you go on.
What? No, kings had the worst diets probably, and like some of the worst living conditions.
Kings?
Yeah, because like there was like constant fires burning. I'm not backtracking. The king is like one dude, one family in the whole nation. That is not. They would have shit living conditions because they were like there was constant fires burning, soot everywhere. They were the only people pooping inside without a good way to get it outside. Like it was.
So they were just doing things that looked cool.
It looked great on the outside. They're like, what luxury? But in reality, they were some of the people most likely to get infected and stuff like that.
Huh. All fruit and vegetables were cooked. I believe they're raw fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't cooking our food help us a lot?
Oh,
Like
huge, dude. Fires.
growing stronger and shit.
Yeah, just being able to cook meat. And that kills so many bacteria that might have gotten us otherwise. Yeah, it's a big deal. But anyway, so he becomes king, and the first thing he does is he beats down all of the nobles that still oppose him, as one does. You know, he like immediately conquers all the other nobles. And it's not like
This is King Arthur?
this is King Arthur. He becomes king, and it's like first order of business. We got to beat down all these nobles that still don't want me to be king.
Damn.
I
So
don't-
he wasn't like he's 15 doing this?
Yeah, with like a team of advisors. You know what I mean?
They were like, you need to be
Yeah,
down the
he was king like Joe Biden is president. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Someone else was
a lot of
like this would be best. We think.
okay.
All right. Oh, like that. Yeah, so he beats them down, but actually, you know, he's successful in conquering them. He's a good king to the people he conquers, and so he becomes like a very beloved king. And then we get to the cool part where like he has to get his sword. Is basically the next stage of his life.
He doesn't have it this whole time.
Well, he has the sword. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Becomes a beloved king, unites a big chunk of the region,
Thank you.
so subduing these nobles. Then there's this phenomenon which also happened in like Japan of samurai, right? Like in feudal Japan,
Mm-hmm.
where all these knights whose like lords had been disgraced, they didn't want to serve someone else, or for whatever reason they no longer served anyone. They were just roaming knights, and so basically they're these warriors that would like fight people, mug people. This is how they made their living, and they're
Okay.
all great warriors. And so that's something he's addressing now. He's conquered it.
He's like trying to stop that.
Yeah, he's trying to stop those
That
guys,
thuggery.
that thuggery in general. And there's one dude who so one day he's at camp and one of his knights comes back and he's like, I just got my ass kicked by this knight who's not letting anyone pass through this forest. And so King Arthur goes to face him himself. He's like a big, like the president or the like leaders these days, sit in their office. Back then it was big for the king to like go do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, well, I'm gonna go take care of this myself then.
Damn.
Yeah, so he goes out there.
How old is he at this point? Sorry.
He's older. Years have passed. Adult age. He's no longer a child.
Okay.
He had to conquer all those territories. Some time went on. So
Was he getting any ladies at this point?
I'm sure he's king, but not like official ladies.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Side lady.
Yeah, some side ladies. Oh, dude, foreshadowing. Some
Oh, man.
important side ladies come back in later.
Arthur.
But yeah, so he goes. So he goes to face this guy, and this guy's name. I just want to make sure I don't get it wrong. Sir Pellinor, the Black Knight, because he wore all black armor. And he goes to confront him, but Sir Pellinor is this awesome knight, kicks King Arthur's ass.
Damn.
They joust a few times. He manages to get Arthur through the chest with his spear. Then they get off and they're fighting with swords off their horses. And to the point where King Arthur, who's using that sword he pulled from the stone, Sir Pellinor breaks that sword. Like,
no.
smashes it. Yeah. And sorry, they're still fighting on the horses with the sword. And then, like, they're fighting with the sword smashes. He knocks King Arthur off his horse, but his foot is still in the stirrup of the horse. And so the horse freaks out and runs away, and that keeps King Arthur alive because the horse basically drags him away from the battlefield because his foot never left the stirrup. And so he gets back, and he's all wounded and bummed.
And he lost his sword.
And now he's really worried because that was like most of his claim to the throne was that he pulled this sword out.
It's like, what sword?
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, let me see that sword again. Can I?
Yeah, remind me.
Can I take a look at that? What? Yeah.
And then some dude who wants his throne now has it too. Or I guess
No, it's just broken. It's just a piece of junk now. Yeah. And so he goes to Merlin and he's like, where can I need a sword. And so Merlin takes him to the Lake of Avalon, which is supposed to be like this magic lake. And so the story of King Arthur went through this transition. This is not the actual story. This is like more the history of it, where initially there was all this folklore and magic and fairies, but then as it got like Christianity came in, you got all these Christian themes, and so some of the magic stuff that remained is like some of the older stuff because it was so essential to the story they couldn't get rid of it or make it more Christian. You know what I mean?
Fuck.
Yeah.
You want to make it godly.
Yeah. So
damn, it's so important.
Yeah.
Magician.
You'd think they would just stop trying because Merlin's literally a wizard, but like, whatever.
But couldn't they just make Merlin God or like
A priest or something?
Yeah, right. Perfect.
Yeah, but no, Merlin's pretty obviously.
The priest is like, give me your baby. They're
Yeah,
like,
give me your
"Oh,
baby."
it doesn't apply there.
God, that's such a bad look in this day and age. The priest asking for the baby, we can't.
Like, fine.
That-
Keep it wizardly.
Keep it wizardly. So yeah, so he goes to Merlin. Merlin's like, all right, I got you. Takes him to the Lake of Avalon, does some chant that causes a gust of wind that clears the smoke, or that's not the smoke, the mist from the lake, and he sees a lady's hand, presumably a hot lady. It's safe to assume all the ladies are hot. And so they're just holding the sword just barely above the water line. And he's like, Merlin goes, that's the great sword Excalibur. And if you can go out there, and if you're worthy, you get to keep the sword. If not, that hot lady is going to drown you. And he goes out, and the lady immediately starts to try to drown him, but like pulls him under. But then she's like, prove yourself worthy. So he's not worthy yet, but he has to prove himself worthy.
Right then and there.
Well, no, and I don't know. She gives him the sword, and he comes back, and so now he's got Excalibur, which is the sword he's best known for.
But he wasn't worthy to get it?
Yeah, she says become worthy. It's a lot of mythic. Like Arthur is very much the chosen one, you know what I mean? So like he's
It's a coming of age.
I think she
story.
pulled him under to be like, you're not worthy yet, but I got to give you this because it's what do they call it? Plot armor.
Yeah. It really
He had a little
think
bit of
the
plot armor there. So they're like, if he drowns here,
This is gonna be a shitty story.
a compelling tale. So Pelennor becomes the main character.
Yeah, not a name that rolls off the tongue.
No,
King Arthur.
not like King Arthur. That's for
All
sure.
right, so he develops some plot armor, gets
So
the
so he's
sword
got his sword, goes back, and then goes and kicks Sir Pelinor's ass with his new
Excalibur.
sword. Yeah, Excalibur makes you all powerful, like super
Oh,
powerful.
really?
Oh, yeah, there's magic in
Okay.
Excalibur.
Okay.
Makes him super powerful. Goes back, kicks Sir Pelinor's ass, but then he's like, I'm trying to cause some unity, not more division here. So come serve on my court.
Bend the knee, bitch.
Yeah, and he becomes one of the OG Knights of the Round Table,
Oh.
Sir Pelennor.
So they became boys.
Yeah, they became boys effectively, and he's on there, and that's how he gets his sword, which is like, everyone knows about King Arthur, Excalibur, Lancelot. That's it, like Sword in the Stone.
Let me see the sword. Excalibur.
Yeah, EX. Excalibur. Obviously, it's just gonna be like anime images.
Wikipedia seems to disagree.
Oh yeah, do we got a good drawing in there?
Is that his arm?
That's probably the Lady of the Lake holding it above, or like their representation of it.
I see.
Yeah, that's supposed to be King Arthur coming out in the boat. That's the arm.
Oh,
Holding
he
the
rode a
sword.
boat?
Yeah, dude, the sword's in the middle of the lake.
I thought he was gonna have to swim out there.
No, rode a boat out, and so the lady grabs him out of the boat, pulls him in to try to drown him.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we wikied this.
Yeah.
I had
there
him
you go.
swimming out.
No, he's in a boat.
Is that him?
Yeah, I mean, we don't.
Well, I mean,
It's
like,
the
in
artist
this
representation. It's always artist
That looks like
rendition.
a
Like a lady.
woman.
Looks
I think
like
that's the
Leia.
front of the boat. Maybe that's him in the back. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so now he's
Got
got
a
his
sword.
sword, and he's almost King Arthur. The last thing he needs,
Limited edition.
the limited edition, the limited edition Excalibur, fresh from the hands of the lady.
All right,
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah. So the next thing he needs for the purposes of this story is a lady. Do you know King Arthur's wife was?
I do not.
Guinevere. You heard that before?
Nope.
Okay. Well, it is. So
I believe
basically,
you, I just hadn't.
well, that's who it is. So next he needs a lady, and so there's a nearby ally king is getting attacked by another duke, and so he's like gonna get his ass kicked. So his only hope is to call out to King Arthur for help.
Okay.
Are you looking at pictures of Guinevere?
I might be.
Oh, well, yeah, she's hot, dude. That's important to the story.
To the lore.
Important to the story that she's a hot lady.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Go on.
So anyway, so King Arthur's ally, this other king, is getting attacked by a duke who wants to conquer his land and also marry his daughter, who's Guinevere. Guinevere is the other king's daughter.
I see.
And so his only hope is he calls out to King Arthur for help, and King Arthur goes and agrees to help. He gets there, and he's all about unity. He doesn't want more death, and so he challenges the duke. He's like, "Why don't you and I just duel?" And
Guinevere and
no, for the castle that he's attacking.
I see.
It's not really about Guinevere yet, even though he's kind of already got the hots for her.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to Guinevere. Guinevere gives him a handkerchief and wraps it around his spear, which is the equivalent of sending nudes
back in the
day. You gave them your handkerchief, and they're like, "Oh." So this lady sent.
Damn.
Mm.
I'm gonna do that at the bar. Just give some girl my handkerchief.
I don't think it works that way. They'd probably be like, "Oh,
Rub it under my arm. Put his hand over.
Think of me." You
Give it like right off in the mouth.
So anyway, she ties it around his spear. He faces the Duke. Absolutely destroys the Duke.
Nice. He's got
wrecks the Duke. He's the king. He's got Excalibur. He didn't even need Excalibur. He used his spear. That's how crazy this was.
Damn.
Yeah.
So does he not have? He has just a magic sword, no other magic tools.
Yeah. He's got the magic sword, and there's a sheath involved, but the sheath comes and goes in the different stories, so I left it out. And in some stories, he has a magic sheath that also stops him from dying in battle. So like he can bleed out, but he won't die. Like he'll stay living as long as he has the sheath.
That sheath on him.
Yeah, but it gets complicated with the sheath, so I left it out of the
I appreciate
description.
the abridged version.
Yeah.
Of his
Well,
magical.
All of these are abridged versions because it's all lore.
Yeah.
It's almost like the myths. It's almost like Greek myths. You know what I mean? But England style, kind of.
The Catholic arcs and stuff.
Yeah, there's Catholic arcs. There's some whatever you want to call it, pagan arcs.
Oh, I meant like Noah's Ark.
Oh, I thought you meant story arcs.
No. Like Noah's Ark was bullshit, right?
The Ark probably not the flood though. Flood is probably legit.
A great flood.
Yeah, well, that's one of those myths. That's one of those myths that you have cross culturally. So different cultures that never had any interaction all have a great flood myth. Not all, but a large number of them, and they never interacted with each other. And so this is
But the whole story is that like God
yeah.
did the flood.
The specifics, two animals, probably not. We can't know for sure, but
No,
probably not. But a myth, probably, or not a myth, a flood, probably. There
Do you
was.
think it killed everyone?
Well, not obviously not everyone were here, but a large number of people, sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. You ever watch the Randall Carlson episode on Jerry? Oh, it's good, dude. He's a geologist, and he talks all about this increasingly probable hypothesis that some point like 10,000 years ago, a meteor struck the polar ice caps and caused a major flood throughout effectively the world. You know, because it just instantly evaporated a ton of icebergs. It's called the Great Impact Hypothesis or something like that. Is that bringing stuff up? No, it's the moon.
Collusion.
Uh,
Collusion? I'm still on the flood. You go on. Though.
yeah, whatever. So there's the flood, and so that's basically how. So that's how he gets Guinevere, marries Guinevere, and even as he's marrying Guinevere, Merlin comes up and he's like, she's too hot. This is gonna be a problem later.
Damn.
So you ever hear that song like, if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your wife. So Merlin was the first.
He was the OG.
He was the OG. He thought of that
Looking out for
first.
his homie.
He's like, this is gonna
So he knew she was too hot because he was probably gonna get like killed for her or something.
something like that. Like hot ladies are bad news. Like we said, they're one of the two reasons for war.
Yeah.
So he's already suspicious, but whatever. King Arthur finishes building Camelot, gets the round table, and this is where we enter the period where it's just his knights doing cool shit.
Okay.
King Arthur does some other cool shit. He has some battles with Rome during this period, but during this, it's largely just his knights doing all the cool stuff.
Like, give me a brief example of some cool shit that the knights did.
Cool stuff. I mean, finding the Holy Grail is the classic one. Lancelot's son Galahad is like the chosen child. He's basically Lancelot without all of the moral failings, which we'll get into in a moment. And so he's the one that finally finds the Grail, and it's like stuff like that
that people want.
Yeah, it's like most of the coolest stories are the knights.
Cool
for sure. But I figured we had to do King Arthur first. He's the main dude.
Gotta be like, setting the scene for
his knights. Setting the scene for his knights. Yeah, so his knights do lots of cool things. And now we have to get to his death.
Oh, so sad.
It is. And to do his death, we have to drop a little bit of backstory. Remember you talked about him sleeping with some side ladies?
I mention that?
All right. Well, one of these side ladies was, unbeknownst to him, his half-sister.
Mm.
And so he slept with his half-sister and bore a son.
Sucks.
Yeah. Well, don't you hate it when that happens?
I don't know that.
You give him a sniff, and you're like, you smell familiar. How did
he find
These my dad's pheromones.
He did 23andMe, and he was like, "Oh my god!"
Apparently, like she knew, but he didn't.
Ooh.
And also, weird now. King Arthur's time, not the weirdest.
Oh yeah, they were probably like,
yeah,
"Oh,
dude,
it was only your half sister."
Yeah, your half sister. Don't you want to marry someone a little closer, a little more closely related?
Okay, so he has his.
So he has a son, Mordred, with this lady. So this happened a little while ago. So but after all the knightly stuff happens, Mordred,
bastard son.
Yeah, and Merlin. So he has sex with a lady, and this is something else that happens when he has sex with his half sister. The son is born, and Merlin gives another prophecy. He's like, I'm not sure who, but a baby that was just born is gonna lead to your downfall. And so King Arthur's like, word, we're killing all the babies. Kills all the babies.
King Arthur.
King Arthur.
So he's not a good guy?
It's all moral relativism. Who knows by their standard? But they brush over this so casually.
I think by any standard, murdering babies.
I also agree murdering babies is bad. My point is when they talk about it in the story, some things they're like, and this was awful. How could he? With this, he's like, so obviously King Arthur killed the babies. Very like. He puts them all in a boat, and then the boat sinks. Babies are dead, but Mordred somehow sneaks by and manages to live through this.
He doesn't get his own fucking baby. That seems like the
Well, he
first
doesn't know. He doesn't know that this baby was even had. He didn't know that he impregnated his half sister.
How did he know about all the other babies?
Merlin's prophecy was
I'm
just
saying, like, how did he find every other baby?
well, he said get all the babies, and he missed one. Dude, it's hard to get all the babies.
I guess.
Cut him some slack, dude. He's rounding up babies.
You said there were like 25 people in his town.
I was exaggerating. Well, he's got a kingdom. You know, this was in the kingdom. He's gathering up all these babies.
So there's a lot of people, you're saying?
Across the entire kingdom, spread across the fields, yes. They don't all live in, whatever. He kills the babies. We can't go back to the, we have to stay away from that.
What are you talking about?
Me and the listeners know what you're trying to prove right now. Listener, Kev, I know you're on my side, dude. It's, yeah. Okay, so this son manages to escape it, is raised by a fisherman, and eventually is reunited with his mother when he's like 14, 15, and gets raised as a knight with his mother.
He's like, what happened to all my friends?
Yeah, and so
It's like, no,
yeah, he's
my
like,
age is around.
no, my age. I'm friends with these old dudes or these kids. I've got no good options.
No age. Like,
What?
5 years
Was something going on that you?
So weird. That year that I went to camp with that fishing guy.
Yeah. So his mother obviously tells him, it's like, you're actually King Arthur's son, but Arthur never learns this.
You little freak. That's why you got 17 toenails.
Yeah, that's all you got.
You're a half.
Apparently, you can get away with it for a generation or two. It's the multiple generations where you start getting. Yeah, there's a higher probability, but the probability gets really high the more generations you go down.
Yeah, and like I feel like that's
Yeah.
once you start, it's like, well,
Compounds.
when I met your mother's sister.
Yeah. Then it goes like, well, this went fine. We could do this again. And then it's get backwards feet, kings that think they're bulls, and grays, whatever.
Oh, and they also wanted to keep it in the bloodline too back then.
Yeah, well, that was usually the reasoning. They're like, because so much of this, like kings in the time, were like, their appeal was like, no, I've been chosen by God. Like that was a big deal. Like most of them, they like had some kind of holy right.
What's it called?
Divine rights.
No, I remember the word Dio, something like that. Maybe it is divine rights.
Something like that. So I think that's why a lot of kings wanted to keep it in the bloodline, because it maintained that illusion that they were special and separate from everyone else.
It's a divine right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Just read the
Divine right was an ancient idea that began with the Europe medieval kings. They claimed that they had been chosen by God and were his representatives on earth.
Yeah.
Those kings had absolute power and could do as they liked. They expected total obedience from the people they ruled. Because, bitch, I got that divine right. It's not me commanding you. It's him commanding me to command you.
Dude, that'd be a fire like streetwear brand, like Supreme, Divine Right.
Divine right.
I think that'd be good.
It's probably been
Probably Google Divine Right
Clothing.
apparel.
plus F to what? Right apparel. Spelled that wrong. Spelled divine wrong.
Is it out
I
there?
don't know. It's Divine Right Essential T-shirt. Yeah, but they don't really have. It's got a more creepy logo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the hand.
Mhm.
Oh god, dude.
Maybe that's what's chosen him.
Ah, god.
All right, go on.
All right. Yeah. So anyway, so Mordred becomes a knight, works his way up, so he's in King Arthur's court, and and remember, keep in mind that he knows Arthur's his father. Arthur doesn't know he's his son.
Mm-hmm.
So Mordred starts scheming. He's like, I want to be king now. How can I get rid of Arthur? The whole time, for years at this point, Lancelot, King Arthur's #1 knight, like the best knight in the land, except for Galahad, his son, who gets taken away by the Holy Grail. Again, that's for another week.
Another week.
Is sleeping with Guinevere. They're desperately in love with each other.
Damn.
Guinevere saw him, and dude, to be fair, every lady that sees Lancelot throughout the whole story is like, I need to marry him right now. It happens time and time. Girls are,
You happen to be the baddest bitch on the planet too at the time.
yeah, and the queen of the most powerful king.
So
She's
they
got
were
all this
just
shit.
destined to be
Yeah.
together.
But dude, ladies are like literally committing suicide because Lancelot is turning them down.
Wow.
Yeah, they're not just talking about it; they're doing it.
That is
They're like, I can't be with Lancelot. Dead.
not worth it.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate riz right there.
And Lancelot refused to sleep with any of these ladies. He only had eyes for Guinevere.
Wow.
And
What
yeah.
Does that make him a good guy or a bad guy?
Ooh, the audience is split on this in terms of King Arthur. They're like, it was true love. They were meant to be
Oh,
together.
no. I meant the fact that he wasn't sleeping with those ladies and, in fact, killing them because of that. He could have saved a lot of lives by being a little more promiscuous.
Yeah,
Just saying.
that's right. That's a good way. Yeah,
It's kind of
He
fucked up if
was-
you think about it.
kept his savior penis away from them.
They needed that peen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
yeah, true love, sure, whatever.
So-
It's
so-
fucked up. He's cheating on his boys.
and
Right.
Guinevere is not free here either. She's cheating on King Arthur,
They're
the
both-
king of the land. So anyway, Mordred starts scheming, and he's like, "How can I get rid of King Arthur?" Well, I know about this affair that Lancelot and Guinevere are having, and so he arranges it that King Arthur finds out, and King Arthur is pissed
Obvi.
when he finds out, and so immediately sentences Guinevere to death, starts a war with Lancelot. Because keep in mind the knights, especially the ones that were like King Arthur's court,
Mhm.
had like their own lands, their own men. They were kind of like their own little
Units.
within themselves.
Fair.
So he goes to war with Lancelot, runs off to fight Lancelot. Or sorry, sorry, I'm scared. He sentences Guinevere to death by burning her.
That's brutal.
Right when he's about to burn her, Lancelot comes in and saves Guinevere. And then that is when King Arthur goes to war with Lancelot.
So does Guinevere die?
No, Guinevere lives.
Nice.
But King Arthur goes to war with Lancelot, and they go off to fight. And while they're off fighting, Mordred starts to spread a rumor that King Arthur has died in the fighting. And then he reveals that he's really King Arthur's son, and he takes the throne. And so King Arthur, who's off at war, hears this and comes back to reclaim his throne.
I'm not dead,
obviously.
bitches.
Yeah, I'm not dead, bitches. So he comes back and he's fighting Mordred, and this is where he dies.
Does he know it's his son at this point?
No, King Arthur never learns it's his son.
Damn.
It's just one of his knights betrayed him.
I guess, and that's how he dies to Mordred's hand.
Yeah, Mordred's hand. But let me just tell you how they die quick, because you'll realize it's familiar and probably influenced a lot of action movies we've seen. So basically, they're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
King Arthur again gets him with a spear and stabs him through, and so Mordred is effectively finished. He's stabbed through the chest with the spear, but instead of like backing off and falling, he pushes himself deeper up the spear so they can get close enough to slash Arthur, and that's how he gets Arthur killed.
Right. So he like climbs through the spear, which that's definitely.
You see that all over the place, especially in the anime and stuff. They grab the sword and pull it in, and then they're like,
I think in one of the diehards he gets stabbed, and he actually stabs the guy with the knife that he stabbed through. Or
So
no,
it's like
he actually shoots himself.
oh, shoots himself. A lot similar,
Kind of
modern
similar.
version.
Yeah,
modern
he
version.
through his like muscly thing into the
Yeah.
guy's heart.
Yeah, and that's the end of King Arthur.
Damn.
Guinevere becomes a nun, and Lancelot becomes a monk, because they both are like repenting because they realize that they were the reason the greatest king ever got killed.
Huh.
And they both felt guilty.
As they should.
Yeah.
Although I don't really feel like it's fully their fault.
No,
Seems like Mortimus or whatever the fuck his name was
Mordred.
had some
He
influence.
definitely did. But they're not totally free.
And when King Arthur's killing babies, is he really the best king ever?
One time he killed a bunch of babies. One time. Everyone's hung up on the one time he slaughtered a bunch of infants.
It seems
People
like
change.
something to be hung up on. Personally, I'm pissed. I'm mad.
Especially drowning the babies. What an awful way to kill
Yeah,
babies.
I mean, like, I guess it's the most not effective, like least. You're not like wasting ammo
So
or anything.
maybe this will help you look at King Arthur in a more positive light. When you're reading it, it's not clear that he meant to kill the babies. He gathers them all up and puts them on this boat, and then it just says, and the boat sinks. So maybe it was some poor weather conditions.
He's like, I could have sworn those babies were trained sailors.
What? That boat had a hole?
Oh, not the baby boat.
I didn't put any men on to man that baby boat? Shit, that is on me.
It was set on fire.
What?
I said to set it a sail. He murdered a bunch of babies.
Kill the babies. I said fill the babies' tummies with sweets. Were you not listening?
Take care of the babies. What did you do with those babies?
I took care of the babies. Yeah, man. And that's the end of King Arthur.
Damn, what a life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
learned a lot today.
Yeah,
Like
dude,
King
it's
Arthur.
pretty awesome. The knights, I think, are more exciting.
I mean,
It's all little tales, little quests they go on.
I'm a little hung up on this all being stories. I kind of assumed he was a real king. Like, there's a
Well, he might
possibility.
be. A good chance he was.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's nothing to say about that. Might have been a good king. Might have been a king or that existed or not, and that most likely.
Confirm.
What'd you say?
They can't confirm.
Yeah, we can't confirm.
That's crazy. I
Probably
just thought we had more like proof of that shit. Or not proof, but like I guess books aren't proof at
no.
all.
He probably was just a good king that had all his deeds exaggerated. Like,
I mean,
as
obviously he wasn't.
he didn't
pulled
really have
swords
a
out of a
magic
rock.
sword. Maybe he pulled a sword out of a rock, but he definitely wasn't putting it back. And then Rip Dudes couldn't get it out, and he could. That's where it goes too far.
Marlin is a wizard stealing his baby. Like that
Yeah.
seems a little inappropriate and unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, no. I'm actually not gonna let you take my firstborn, you creepy old
Yeah, I'd like
wizard
to keep
man.
that. And plus, I already slept with the lady. What are you gonna do? Are
I
you gonna
guess-
you make me unhave sex with her? That's
I mean, once the guy's turned you into someone else, I feel like his powers are clear.
true. I'd be pretty worried.
I'd be concerned.
Yeah.
That's with him.
Maybe we should just give him the baby, babe. We can have another.
Well, she never knew. Did she ever know why the baby was given away?
No, he
He's
literally
like, oh, remember I turned into your dead husband and had sex with
he,
you.
he couldn't tell her, so he literally just took the baby from her.
He's like,
It
wait,
says like ripped
you
it
were
from his
watching the
mother's
baby,
arms.
he wasn't on the boat, was he?
We
Oh,
never know,
God.
that's his dad. It's the
I
baby
know.
is the one
I
who kills
know.
the baby. Yeah. Yeah, dude, it is crazy. Merlin's a fun character too. I just like the idea of like the druids in general.
The who's?
The druids. Like that was like those were like the part of the religion, sort of pagan religion of that time. And do you know it's still a thing? So fairies were a big part of the druid religion and stuff. And do you know it's still a law in Ireland where you cannot pave over a fairy circle?
What's a fairy circle?
It's like mushrooms that grow in a circle for some reason. Type in fairy circle. Yeah, so to this day in Ireland,
The fuck are these?
or sorry, fairy ring maybe. It's not that. Yeah, that's fairy ring.
Jesus Christ.
And
That's the thing that you just showed
Not
me.
the fiery sun. It's like the circle of mushrooms. It's still to this day illegal to pave over those in Ireland.
And they just grow in a circle like that?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Isn't that weird?
And is it magic?
I have never been in one.
They would.
What does it do? What's the fairy circle?
Is the idea that they plucked from the fairy circle? A man saves his friend. Oh, it sounds like it's not magical. Sounds like they were
It was dark.
doing bad things.
Dude, all the stories.
They were witches' rings. Fairy rings were thought to mark the sites of witches dancing. That kind of makes sense.
God.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Just a
All right.
bunch of girls from Brooklyn dancing in a circle.
We're witches.
We're witches.
Fairy circle time.
Nice, dude. But yeah, that's King Arthur.
Cool.
Hour, 4 minutes.
Not too shabby.
No,
We
not
only
too-
cut out like 15 of it. So.
Yeah. That's a good time, dude. I think that's a good time. Yeah, no, we're not. I think we're gonna leave the argument in. I think it's authentic.
Oh, it is.
Then we can see what Kev thinks.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn. What if we creep him out by talking about him this much and then he unsubscribed?
I think that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Me too. We love you, Kev. Not that much. We'll live without you.
No, I'm saying more along the lines of I don't think he's gonna take it weird.
Oh, true.
I'd be pretty devastated if he unsubscribed.
Yeah, if he removes his,
That
his
would be like
positive comment.
borderline Lancelot, will you date me?
Yeah.
Not. Okay.
About to start a war.
There's some jokes for
Yeah,
us.
we're gonna finish with some jokes. Welcome to the joke section.
Joke Lounge. These are this one's got some nice handwriting.
Yeah, I try to write neatly because other people have to read. Well, just flip them upside down. Well, which two did you say have
Any
good?
heading.
Which one did you say have good? Just do the ones with good handwriting. I'll do the others too.
This one's quite nice.
Okay. And you said this one as well?
It's all right. No, you want me to read that one?
No, all right. You want to go first or shall I?
This one's good. A recent study found that 80% of people will use the escalator on their way to the gym. When asked why, respondents stated that leg day is for pussy. It's a good one.
Yeah, thanks. I thought that was funny
He's
too.
going right
Dude,
there.
I hate that. I see that at the gym. I'm like, you're here to exercise, and you're taking the escalator up.
I've
Like, what
never
is-
seen an escalator at the gym.
Really?
Like, I guess
Like-
in New
like-
York, it's kind of different, honestly.
Like,
because
if it's a big one, like there's one at
Yeah.
Chelsea Piers, or
Yeah.
like New York Sports Club has
I'm thinking
escalator.
Stanford gym.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Lots don't, but if they do, you always see people on it,
No, that's fair.
and it's just like, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Like, I want to exercise. It's not that much. Not one flight of stairs.
What if you got bad knees and you're there to work out your
Yes,
bicep?
there are always. That's what I said. Leg day is for pussies. If you're about that life,
I think if you have bad knees, you're not a pussy.
yes, you get. But the people with bad knees get exceptions.
And they should be doing leg days anyway.
Yeah.
Go on.
Disgraced Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes started her 11-year prison sentence today. Go figure. Not only is she a billionaire, but now she doesn't even have to pay rent.
You're in jail.
She really did just start her sentence too.
Just now?
Yeah, like it was trials went on forever.
Damn.
And now she started recently. Yeah. Isn't that funny? Like if the technically the most affordable, like rent wise, the most affordable place to live in the United States is prison.
Yeah, didn't some guy like rob a bank and he's like, I just want
Oh yeah, I saw that. For like
food.
He did it for like
shelter.
$1.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're not scared of being raped in prison,
I was gonna say there's definitely a lot of downsides to prison, but some people, like, Shawshank Redemption, they go to prison for so long, the guy like gets out and he immediately wants to go back to prison.
oh yeah, he's like, I hate it here.
Yeah, this sucks.
Where are all the
my
dudes?
homies?
Ladies?
Well, I think it's the routine you get into as well,
Yeah.
but like prison's definitely
And, like, you have other people making your
it's a
decision.
routine I'd like to not get into.
Yeah, definitely.
Is this? Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
PetSmart has been forced to issue a recall after a series of customers filed complaints. They stated that the bearded dragons they had just ordered were lizards.
Isn't that letdown? You go to the pet store and you're like, I heard you guys have bearded dragons.
Dragon.
Oh yeah. Here's our bearded dragon set. These are lizards. Stupid lizards.
Beard.
Yeah. Not only that, no beards. Clean shaven lizards.
Lizards. is-
What a let. I'd be so disappointed.
That joke was a little close to home for me.
I know. I did it to Jack and Ron at
Did it land?
at
I'm
Gina's
sure Ron
party.
laughed.
Ron laughed. So Jack laughed too. He thought it was funny. And I didn't like do it like that. We were just talking about bearded lizards. He missed the
Right on the
he
wrist.
missed the ring light. You guys can't
Ring of
see it.
light.
He's been shooting him through the ring light, and that was a miss.
That was
It was Shaquille O'Neal at the free throw line right
missed.
there.
The first one way worse. Hit the light.
Oh yeah, I missed that, but at least it went through. You didn't get rejected by.
Yeah, exactly. That was the closest one, honestly.
Stopped you.
All right, tell you little jokes.
My little jokes. They're called one-liners, actually. Although these are more like three-liners. They're a little bit long.
Yeah, they're like little jokes.
All right. Maybe that's a trying to be so condescending about my After complaints about commute times, New York City Mayor Eric Adams stated that the distance from Grand Central to JFK is only 3 miles as the crow flies, assuaging the fears of all birds in the area. I should read that again. I fucked it up.
I don't even. I liked the first part, honestly. It's only 3 miles, guys.
After complaints about commute times, New York City Mayor Eric Adams stated that the distance from Grand Central to JFK is only 3 miles as the crow flies, assuaging the fears of all birds in the area. You get it? Because as the crow flies. Isn't that funny? People give you directions. You're like, how far is the airport from here? And they're like, it's only a couple miles as the crow flies. Oh, I guess my birds will beat me there then. You have any info on as the car drives? Is that?
I think that it's a pretty outdated terminology. Like,
Yeah.
back then it did kind of matter straight ahead. Like, you're like, oh, well, if you're
True. There's no roads.
yeah. If you don't make any unnecessary turns,
Yeah.
like, you just go straight crow mode.
That's a good point. There's no roads. You can beeline
Yeah,
it to anywhere you want to
I
go.
guess beeline and crows
It's the same.
are similar lines.
That's supposed to be. Yeah, that's what they're trying to say. They're trying to say in mathematics it's called the
I've always
geodesic.
really enjoyed that phrase though, like as the crow flies.
It's fun.
It's
I
satisfying.
like it. It's just funny.
I remember learning
I
as a
use-
child and being like, I think that is cool.
Like, we can put things in terms of crows.
It was like one of those phrases that you learn as a kid that you think is really cool, so you try to incorporate it into more conversations. I'd be like, well, third grade classroom is about 500 steps as the crow would fly. You gotta take a couple turns, so
it becomes part of what you're known for. Oh, Brian, you mean that crow dude?
he's always talking about crows.
He's always interested in how quick crows could get places.
Yeah, it's really weirdly accurate with it though.
I don't know, but God damn, he's got it down to a science.
See the least helpful stat line in New York City though. It's like, oh yeah, my office is only a mile as the crow flies, but it takes me 15 minutes as the subway.
Yeah, so you couldn't even if you wanted to. It was just on a grid. So,
Yeah.
like, you have to do down and side. Like,
I'm sprinting through. I guess that is actually a very helpful direction point for like the Incredible Hulk, who just runs through a building, running through life. That guy from X-Men.
Oh yeah,
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut.
That is a very good as the Juggernaut runs.
That's the Juggernaut runs. The 2022
More applicable.
Yeah.
I'm not flying here.
Oh yeah, the train's what? It's like 3 miles as the Juggernaut runs.
As the jug goes.
That's true. There are better ones. The Juggernaut's a good one. I'm trying to think of other.
Because the Hulk kind of jumps.
Yeah, which it also works. But as a Juggernaut runs is funnier, I think.
And it's he's constantly running through
as the Hulk leaps. That's gonna fun. I'm gonna start doing that now. Just use superheroes instead of crows. As Superman would go. Sorry.
How often are you getting asked for the crows flying?
It's usually when you're trying to tell someone that it takes a while to get there, but it's actually close.
Yeah.
You're like, it's 40 minutes, but it's only like 2 miles as Iron Man flies.
Yeah, but like, again, if someone was like, it's 40 minutes, but it's only 2 miles, I just assume it's like, I guess traffic is an option.
Yeah, I really don't care. I can care more how long it's gonna take me to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nowadays, it doesn't matter the actual distance.
No, but it is usually to express like how shitty it is.
And even then, it's like, okay, how long would it take to walk though? You're like, oh, only 5 minutes actually.
Oh, as you wanted to know as the human walks. Why don't you just say so?
Yeah, no, there's actually a super fast pathway that birds can't get to, so I leave that out.
Involves a tunnel.
Yeah, super easy for humans. Really tough for crows.
Yeah, goddamn crows. There's
There's this
bitch
huge
for
fan
crows to
involved.
get there. That's so funny, dude. I'm going to the stadium. It's 5 minutes walk, but goddamn, it's an eternity as the crow flies.
It's forever. You have to go through all these hoops.
You gotta peck your way through the roof.
Underwater is like the least crow flying.
And then you do as the duck dives. It's 3 miles as the human walks, and another 500 feet as the duck dives.
Where isn't it? Like, it would actually be only 10 steps to my neighbor's apartment, but it would take crows a fucking eternity to figure out how to get to the doors.
Work the elevator.
We're beating this.
It's funny. It's funny. We're beating this crow to death.
As it flies away.
All right, that's the Moose Lounge podcast.
That's it. That's the Moose Lounge.
That's good. What are we at? And hour 14. Yeah.
Hour 14, one of our longer episodes. But I guess we're
dude, last one was hour 9, and we cut out like 10 minutes.
Wow.
We fly through
We can
this
really chat, huh?
We can chat. We can really argue about how old people were 500 years
wait
ago.
for someone to take my side. Some
You
health enthusiast.
might be surprised. I think Kev's gonna come in and be like, Eddie was right.
Eddie was right all along.
Eddie knew.
Those.
It's because I've been buttering him up this whole episode.
I hope.
Kev, did I mention you look so handsome? Kev, we didn't even explain who he was really to everyone else. Kev was just a dude that left a nice comment on one of our videos.
We that's how we opened the
Oh,
video.
did we? Oh yeah, we thanked him.
Dedicated our whole intro.
But I thought we just said like thanks, Kev. Did we say like
yeah,
why?
we said he was the first person with a supportive comment.
Okay, yeah.
First and only.
No, there's some other ones where like, I'm dead, dude. That's funny.
Oh.
We've got those.
I only remember the one that said the weenies have jokes.
That was the funniest. That was the funniest comment.